Well, hello everybody, and welcome again to another instalment of bicycle maintenance with a fairly average mechanic, the fairly average mechanic being me. And today we're going to do a fairly straightforward but nonetheless very important task, and that is changing your brake pads on your disc brake bike. Now, we will be looking in a separate video about how to change the pads if you're using a bike with rim brakes, but today we're talking about disc brakes. So we're going to go over, look at the bike, we're going to look at the disc brakes, and I'm going to show you how to change them. So don't go away.
Now here we can see the disc brake rotor here, and here we can see the disc brake caliper, and the brake pads, the disc pads, are held in place by this little screw type bolt here. So what we're going to do is remove that so that we can then remove and replace the pads. So the first thing I'm going to do is to remove the wheel. So you can see my hand reaching here, and I'm going to undo the caliper so that I can take the wheel out. So what we have left is the fork, obviously, here, and here is the caliper assembly. Now you can see there is a small screw there, and on the other side there is a little retaining clip. Now I'm just going to take that clip out with my fingernail and dropped it on the floor. So please bear with me for a couple of minutes, probably about half an hour, while I look for it. Okay, now I dropped the retaining clip on the floor. It is a very small retaining clip and my eyes are not very good, so I'd pretty much given up on finding it. My memory card then got full up, so I had to stop filming, replaced the memory card, happened to look down and saw the retaining clip. Now I'm going to show it to you. There you can see it at the end of my fingers. Can you see that? That is a pretty small retaining clip, but at least I've found it. So the next thing to do is to unscrew this little screw that you can see here in order to remove the brake disc pads. So I'm putting a screwdriver in there, and I'll turn the camera around so you can see that better. Okay, the little screw is here at the end of my screwdriver. So I'll put the screwdriver in and I'll unscrew that little bolt. Actually, that screwdriver not quite big enough, so I'll get a slightly bigger screwdriver, and that one's not big enough either, so I'll get a bigger screwdriver. If I carry on like this for much longer, I'm going to destroy this bolt. So for fuck's sake. Yeah, there it is. Did you hear that little click as the screwdriver started to undo? Perhaps I've done it up a little bit too tightly. I've almost destroyed this bolt. I think I actually have some spare ones with any luck. So anyway, I unscrew that. It's not screwed in for the whole of the bolt, so I should be able to just pull it out like that, and that is the bolt there and you can just see at the end of the bolt where I'm sort of pointing with the screwdriver where the retaining clip fits on. So I'm putting that down safely, hopefully not going to lose it. Okay, I've changed the angle of the camera slightly and you can see my fingers reaching into shot now, and I'm just going to remove the brake disc pads, and as you can see we have a pad there and we have a pad there, and between them we have this spring loaded clip thing. So one of them goes on that side and one of them goes on that side, or rather this clip goes on either side of the pads, and that allows them to squeeze together. Can you see how that squeezes together like so? See? A bit like snapping jaws there on a snake or a crocodile. Now these pads are okay, so I'm just going to put them back in, but let's assume these pads were not okay and you'd purchased a new set of pads, and they would come like this. They would have the metal spring clip between them and they would have the retaining bolt that you saw me with earlier that I removed. So we're going to put these back into the slot here. Can be a little bit fiddly, but there, that's gone in okay. And now I'm going to put the screw back in there, and with any luck, says he, they are in the right place for, that's it, yes, that's gone in okay. So now I get the screwdriver and I'm just tightening up that bolt like so. I won't over tighten it this time, as you saw previously it was a little bit too tight, but I'm tightening it through there, tightening it up, and there we are, it's done. So I'm going to find that little retaining clip which is here. You'll remember this very tiny clip there. It really is very small. Oh, there you are, you can just about see it. And I'm going to try and clip that on to the end of this bolt, preferably without dropping it, which will be a fucking miracle if it happens. There we are, I've done it, and that's it. One thing you must not do, incidentally, when you take out the pads is to think, oh, I'll just check and see how the brakes work, and then you squeeze the brakes. Now what happens is that the two sides of a kind of piston that squeezes the pads together against the rotor will then not be forced back, and if that happens you will need to use a tool to open up the pads and expand the system. Now you can use a screwdriver to do that, or you can use a special tool, and as usual Park Tool produces such a tool, and it looks like this, but it's basically just a metal kind of wedge shaped piece, or kind of wedge shaped piece of metal that you then push in and you can force back the pistons on either side. But as I say, you don't need to use this special tool, you can just use a screwdriver. Now I think you'll agree that changing the pads, disc brake pads, was actually very straightforward, and apart from my little
problem dropping the retaining screw, it's very easy to do. So there's no need to take your bike to the bike shop in order to change the disc brake pads. You will also have noticed, unlike many of the other tasks that we've gone through together, you don't need any special tools. You need a screwdriver and basically that's it. You don't need that special tool to open up the pistons. If you unfortunately close them, you can just use a screwdriver in order to do that. So it's a very easy task to change your disc brake pads and saves you a bit of money from going to the bike shop. So I hope you've enjoyed this bicycle maintenance with a fairly average mechanic. Surprisingly, it actually went very well today. Most of the videos don't go quite so smoothly. Perhaps I'm getting better. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, look forward to seeing you in the next installment of this mechanic's advice. And welcome to all those people who've started to ride bikes or get back into riding bikes and want to learn a little bit about how to maintain them during this period of lockdown, and hopefully continue riding their bikes afterwards and being able to maintain them as well. So thanks for watching and see you next time.